Okay, dude. China is working overtime as hundreds of e-bike manufacturers are looking to compete in the pit bike market, hoping to even get just a sliver of the American market pie, which the ETM RTR and RTR Lite both currently command, both of which are bikes that are made in China, but engineered and researched in California. Well, today we're checking out yet another potential contender in the electric pit bike space. But is this just another flashy cash grab aimed at pulling in a younger crowd with bold photos and marketing hype? Or is it actually a real contender in the space? Well, this Vipcoo H3 from iEnrid is going to be the subject of our experiment. This bike has nearly the exact same specs as the Tutio Solilo 1, except two things. A 48 volt 23 amp hour battery instead of the Tutio's 48 volt 21 amp hour battery, and 3500 watt motor with 4500 watt peak versus the Tutio's 2000 watt motor. This increased performance does make this bike a little bit more expensive than the Tutio, coming in at $1,500 versus $1,300. Standing next to the RTR, you can see this bike is pretty similar in size, although keep in mind the RTR has 12-inch Supermoto wheels on it. What's also similar is this bike sports a fully hot swappable removable battery, but this has to be the weirdest removable battery I've ever seen. You unscrew this little spindle on the front, lift this up, and then the battery slides out. So interesting. Vipcoo claims 25 to 43 miles range on this bike, which I appreciate them giving a generalized estimate versus other brands that have outrageous claims, but I don't think 25 miles is happening on this thing. I also love how hilariously large this toolkit is that comes with this bike, just like so much bigger than the normal size toolkit you get. The bike sports standard, non-adjustable hydraulic pit bike suspension, commonly seen in this class. Now, sitting on the bike, the first thing I notice is this suspension is firmer than you'd expect, at least in the rear. The front is a little bit squishy, which is typical on these bikes, but the rear shock is actually decently firm for what it is. Seat feels pretty uncomfy, but we'll see how this actually fares on more treacherous terrain. Now, let's also address the cockpit. I will say these bars feel pretty narrow, and similar to the Tutio, these levers are super close to the bars. I do like that the display is on the left side of the handlebars instead of the right, so the throttle hand will not get in the way of the display like on the Tutio, but they're definitely smaller bars that don't sit that high. As far as the pegs go, they seem like decent quality. They do put your knees up pretty high, but not so high that the bars will actually touch either of my knees. And for what it's worth, I'm 5'11", and it seems like I can actually fit on this thing pretty comfortably, aside from the pegs being a little bit high for my liking. The key is exactly where it should be, which is not on the handlebars and down in front here. The key reminds me of a quad key, ironically, but it comes with two. You turn it on, and then you have full access to the display. So you have P, which is park mode, then you have mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, all different power modes. You also have a trip meter, an overall odometer, as well as your battery voltage. On the bars, you've also got blinkers, on and off switch for your headlight, a horn. One thing I love about this bike is the fact that it comes with a freaking headlight and turn signals. I feel like it's not that expensive to add to these bikes, yet no company ever freaking does it. We'll put on the four ways for us here. Like, look at that. In the front and in the rear, I know it doesn't cost much money, but like that is a nice thing to have, especially if you're riding at night, to be able to see and be seen. That's so important, and not even the RTR comes stock with that. So let's address the elephant in the room. Is every single Chinese e-bike company copying each other? Short answer, yes. But let's hop on the Vipcoo and talk a little bit more about this topic and the bike. But first, also let's quick talk about aesthetics, because I will say this thing looks pretty decent. If the Tutio was a 0 and the RTR was a 10, I would say this is about a 5.7. Not amazing, not horrible, but definitely among the better looking bikes in this e-bike class, at least in my opinion. Alright, so we'll hop on this thing and talk ergos. First thing I noticed, the seat is fine, not ultra comfy. It's fine. The pegs definitely sit a little bit high, and immediately I don't like these grips. These are like hard rubber, plastic sort of grips. It's not like a standard pillow top grip. Don't love that. The freaking levers are so close to the bars too, but let's get riding. We'll go to the spot where we'll do our top speed test and talk about this thing. All right, we're in mode 2 right now. Let's go to mode 1 just to see each mode. Mode 1. Oh my god, and mode 1 is so slow. From a complete stop. Mode 1, this is full throttle. Total dog. This is saying we're going 21 kilometers an hour. I'll translate that to miles per hour, but 21.8 is the max in mode 1. So mode 1, you're never gonna ride in. Mode 2, now we've got a lot more noticeable power. Going up to 35, 36, 37, and then we have a downhill. So guys, these e-bikes that are coming into this scene, specifically the electric pit bikes, I've got a bone to pick with you guys. And that bone is that I don't get why these companies make these bikes but don't actually listen to the market. Like, if you want to get into this market and be super successful and do well, the bike has got to be competitive. And why are you making a bike that the pegs are so high, the bars are so narrow, the levers are so freaking close to the bars? It's like, unless this thing is actually just truly engineered for like 8 to 13-year-old, it's hard for a grown adult to get on this thing and be super comfortable. I won't lie. And that's not just this bike. I'm not trying to harp on this bike. It's all these pit bikes that I'm seeing in this scene, like the 2TO, like this bike, like a slew of the other bikes. I just don't understand it, to be honest. Like, look at Electron Company. They're a perfect example of a company that does something right. They listen to the market. They see what people want. They see what people need. They understand that full-grown adults want to ride these bikes, so they actually tailor it so both kids and adults can ride these things. It's just hard. All of these Chinese copycat companies make the same bike over and over again, and it's cheap, and that's great, but like, it's underwhelming, and it doesn't feel like it's made for someone my size and weight. And I'm not even that big. I'm 5'11 and 170 pounds, but let's hop into mode 3. We'll do top speed. It is noticeable. More torque. They claim 39 miles per hour. We're at 47, 48, 49. We'll even keep the downhill 50, 51, 52, 54. Again, this is kilometers an hour. 53, 52. Still staying right around 53. 55. All right, so 55 kilometers an hour. So a top speed of 34.175 miles per hour, which is slower than what they claim. They claim 39, maybe if you're 120 pounds. All right, we'll head to our off-road testing spot, but I just don't see how bikes like this are really going to be successful in the market. I mean, there's really one main selling point, and we all know what that is. They're cheap. They're definitely cheap. This is originally $1,500. Right now, I think it's on sale for $1,300, so pretty much the exact same price as a 2TO, because it's really the exact same bike, the exact same performance. Again, it's not a horrible bike. It seems to work so well so far, and I like that it's a good way to get more people on the scene, because not everyone can afford to spend 2, 3, 4 grand. But I always look at something like this and just say, hey, I'd rather save an extra $700 and get an ETM RTR Lite. What's up, dude? How's it going? How's it going, guys? Good? Yeah, of course. I like your bike, man. I like the colors.
What is it? A dirt bike or?
This is like an electric dirt bike. Yeah, exactly. It's called a Vipcoo. I'm doing a review on it right now, actually.
Does it have signals?
It does have signals, actually. That's a unique feature this thing has. It's got turn signals.
How loud is the...
Oh, it's pretty quiet.
No, not that.
Oh, the horn? You can hit it. You want to hit the button?
Press mine. It's so hard. Like...
The brakes? Oh, yeah, that is hard.
Okay, good.
Well, good seeing you again. And what's your name, man?
Niraj.
Niraj, nice to meet you. I'm Connor. Yeah, you want to sit on it? Let me just make sure it's in park.
Oh, let me see your phone real quick.
Ready? Do it again now. Now it's really fast.
Where are we going?
All right, guys, have a good day. Shout out to all you guys that follow and support me. I appreciate y'all. Back to the video, though. These cheaper e-bikes, again, it's a way for people to get involved, but I just wish more companies listen to what they actually need. Like, I think that these bikes are made too little, too late, and they're just not as good as they could be. It's not horrible, but not as good as we could be. But we're going to get to our off-road test right now just to see how this suspension performs, and I'm bottoming it out, nearly just jumping on it here, so... Trail test. This will be a good test to the brakes. The brakes lock up, but they don't feel amazing for wheelies. And we'll get straight to the tough stuff. Granted, this is not the most pit bike friendly trail. Alas, we still hit it. And I expect this suspension to perform very similar to the 2TO. This does have noticeably a bit more power than the 2TO, I will say, in the woods here, but yeah, it's like a pogo stick. You're gonna get pogo sticked around. It's very bouncy, which when you're off-roading isn't the best, because you want it to be predictable. You want your suspension to be pretty stiff, frankly. At least I do. So, not the best off-road, but small pit bikes always suffer in more treacherous trail terrain. Yeah, but very, very bouncy. If you get this thing, I think you'd probably be more likely riding it through a neighborhood like I am in this video. How's it going? All right, we'll do our little jump test. Looks like we brought a souvenir from the woods. I mean, cruising on it, it's comfortable. I will say that. It's not uncomfy. Well, it's just certainly underwhelming is ultimately my takeaway. It's underwhelming, which is based on the specs exactly what I expected. You're not going to be blown away by the power, the suspension on a bike at this caliber, but Yeah, jumps just like I'd expected. Granted, I'm not the best jumper, but it's a bit of a pogo stick. Ready? We can probably bunny hop it down because you could just compress the suspension. I mean, it's making me smile. It's a bike. But my issue with these bikes is like, it just doesn't really have character. Like, what really sets this apart from all of the other Chinese e-bike manufacturers that I've talked about? Like, maybe it looks a little different, but a lot of them use very similar frames. Maybe the way the battery comes out's a little different. The way the motor is mounted is a little different. It sits like on top of this, which I haven't seen before, but like, it's still really just all the same stuff, the same parts. And, you know, I don't really think that they're expecting people to take this to like the pit bike track. It's really, I think, marketed for kids, similar to how Razors were back in the day, but just a little bit of a step up from Razors. We'll go to the most important test of them all, as we know, the wheelie test. Now, this thing I believe does have brake sensors. This is for the display. Yeah, so you can't, there's no plug. Typically bikes will have plugs for these. This is directly from the brake, so this is the brake sensor. I don't know, I might be able to snip the line and then I don't have brake sensors, but I'm not gonna risk it, especially out here, because I don't want the bike just to get stuck. So, meaning with brake sensors, when you pull on the brake, cuts the motor. So when you're up at balance point and you're, let's say, here and you pull the brake in, you no longer have motor. So it's easier to just drop the front wheel. So it's a little bit harder to wheelie a bike with brake sensors, but let's give it a go. Oh, okay, we got up. Yeah, and when you pull the brake in, it takes a second for the motor to re-engage once you release it. Okay, let's do it with a foot down, I guess. Yeah, so I think if you well, I don't think, I know, if you cut the brake sensor, if you can do that and it doesn't affect the bike, you can still ride the bike normally, then you definitely will be able to wheelie it. It's got plenty of power. It's got more power than the 2TO, so it can, whoa, almost looped. It can be wheelied. The brakes aren't great though. Not a great wheelie brake. None of these bikes, even the Sur-Ron brakes, aren't very good typically. So this thing's a little hard to wheelie. To be honest, I will say that's a point for the 2TO, because the 2TO I was able to unplug the brake sensors and wheelie it. This thing, not so much. Not a wheelie bike right now. So if you do get this bike and you want to wheelie it, you'll have to do some research and see if you can cut that line. So I don't know if you cut it, if it affects the rest of the function, but... And honestly, this went exactly as I expected. I really think all these freaking e-bike brands, they're really the same. It's just different names. China's patent law seems to be pretty loose, pretty fast and loose, so everybody can make the same things. It's the same thing with Sur-Ron. Like, dude, so many companies just went out, copied Sur-Ron, except they did make improvements, but then just sold basically copycat bikes that were exactly the same, if not very similar to the Sur-Ron. Well guys, today we reviewed the Vipcoo H3. Aesthetics wise, we gave it a 5.7. Not horrible, not beautiful, somewhere in the middle. As far as power goes, it's not bad, not too shabby. It's a little more than the 2TO, still a fun way to get outside. Brakes, don't love them. Obviously wheels and tires, if you want to off-road, it's good for that, but I always do supermotos. Probably my favorite feature is that it comes stock with this headlight, 4-ways, tail light and turn signals, so that's super cool, and a functioning brake light. Yep, functioning brake light. That's probably my favorite feature on this bike, but ultimately, is this something that I would buy? Unfortunately, no, it's not, and that's because there's better options on the market right now. Again, I don't want to discourage people from getting into the market, because I understand that stuff costs money, and stuff is expensive, and not everyone has a ton of money to spend. But again, I think in this case, if you can just save $700 more, get the RTR Lite, save with code ConnorG, it's just a better all-around bike. It's a bike that you'll keep for a long time. I don't think this is a bike that people ultimately will keep for a while. They'll use it to get into the scene, ride it for a bit, and then ultimately want something better, like the RTR or the RTR Lite. Huge shout out to Vipcoo for sending this out for review. As you can already tell, there's no bias here. I'm giving my honest feedback, but if you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them down in the comments. If you want this bike, I will leave it linked in the description. Otherwise, I will see you guys very, very soon. Peace.